This time we cross the mighty state of Texas and visit Lubbock, before moving on to Birmingham, Alabama and the Barber Museum. Find us racing towards Albuquerque as best we can. We've got some paperwork we've got to get filled in to get the bike home, because the freight company are morons who don't know their own laws. See, I don't actually require the form to be filled in law at all, but the company won't take it without it. So they're obviously complete idiots who don't know their own job. What can I say? So we're heading towards New Mexico now. We're still in Colorado, and we're going as best we can towards Albuquerque, where there's a port of entry in the airport. Hopefully the customs guys will do it and they won't become jobs worths. I just want this form filled in because otherwise I'm absolutely screwed. Weather's good today. It's warm but not too warm. It's pretty hot. I think I'm running a bit of a temperature. I'm coming down with a cold, I think. But yeah, the scenery's not been too bad. It's opening out a little bit now. Still that sort of desert scrub look. And obviously it's probably going to get a bit drier and hotter as we head in towards New Mexico. That's what we're anticipating at least. Yeah, so Aztec historic town, built in 1887, so approximately 1,000 years younger than our hometown. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, the phrase historic is very flexible. You stay there. Yeah, we were just laughing to ourselves because it has got some old buildings in it, but it said historic town 1880 something, and we realised that our football club is older than this town, our local club, by a few years, more than 20 years actually. Yeah, I mean, it just seems strange to us. When we say historical town, you're talking something in the Doomsday Book, it's just 1086, whenever the Doomsday was in there. It's probably the town will be over 1,000 years old. That would be historic. 1886 is like a new town. Different histories, different histories. Now we reached the airport in Albuquerque in the early afternoon. It was hot and we'd ridden hard all morning. I was absolutely exhausted and was completely frazzled when I went into the office. Tom unfortunately was stuck outside and would have to do continuous loops at the airport just to stop himself getting moved up by the police. The customs guys were really helpful, but they weren't really too enamoured with the people who were importing our bike back home, especially when they suggested I take a detour of several hundred miles just to pick up the form. But to cut a long story short, the guys in the office were able to help me, and thankfully I left there with the form I needed to re-import the bike back to Blighty. The Honda would indeed be coming home. Well, probably. At this point, who really knew for sure? But either way, we were back on the road, and after a short hop up the freeway, we found a hotel and settled down for the evening. Find ourselves on Route 66 again, heading down towards Fort Sumner. Just a few miles of it on our way to Lubbock. Got about 205 to go, 120 covered on the interstate, which was obviously lots of fun. It's getting flatter now, it's just getting more prairie-like, certainly as we're heading east. Moved away from the mountainous areas now. We've got hills, but definitely no more mountains at the moment. There's a lot of stuff about Billy the Kid here. Whether this was his hometown, I don't actually know. Bit of research required, I think. Oh, that's the dead raccoon. I've not seen a live raccoon this entire trip. I know they're nocturnal, but I would have seen one. I keep seeing them as roadkill, unfortunately, poor things. So yeah, Fort Sumner. Research required. Fort Sumner is where Billy the Kid is actually buried. So there you go, he was obviously killed in this area and is buried just outside Fort Sumner. So there's a new fact there, I did not know that, but there you go. You can see, although it's not as featureless as it was in Minnesota, there's still an awful lot of, not very much, I think is the best way to describe it. Awful lot of not very much. We've got some hills, a nice ridge over there to my left, but to my right it's just miles of the same land. It's becoming increasingly featureless as we head further east. Got an F111 and a light tank there and an anchor. Okey-dokey.
It was anti-air M40 Thruster.
Yeah, anti-aircraft gun, and it was a replica fiberglass F111 that was. Well, you know, this is Clovis, clearly it's an old railway town, and there's an old train just to prove it. And looks like some Spanish era buildings as well around the old railway station, which shows some of the older routes of this town. Oh, and you still seem to be able to get cannabis for some reason. Seems to be a bit of a thing in America at the moment. So, yippee-ki-yay, we have just crossed the border into Texas. We've got around 100 miles to go. Things are looking up, things are going pretty well. Definitely sorted out some tyres. We are rocking and rolling. Well, our first town in Texas has the very Texan name of Muleshoe. Exactly. It's, yeah, I mean, why not, really? Seems really Texan, kind of appropriate, doesn't it? What else you call it? Spur, maybe? I don't know. But Muleshoe. Why not? Why not indeed? Well, according to the Muleshoe clock, it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit out here today. It's what, 37, 38 degrees, isn't it? Something like that. Feels about right. Now, I had a very good reason for visiting Lubbock. Lubbock, as you may know, is the birthplace and indeed final resting place of Buddy Holly, who was killed in an air crash in 1959. Now, while I did take a couple of photos there, I didn't do any filming, it didn't really seem appropriate. We did, however, head over to the Buddy Holly Centre. Unfortunately, we'd lost an hour during the journey today, and when we got there the centre was due to close in just a few minutes. So instead we looked around. Buddy Holly's house had been preserved there, and there was a rather marvellous statue of the man himself. Now I would have loved to have spent more time there, but we simply got there too late in the day. For me, Buddy Holly is the greatest star of the 1950s. Some people love Elvis, but for me, he's the guy that really sets off groups like the Beatles and the British groups that would follow in the 1960s. Well, we've made it to our little cabin on the Campgrounds of America side. No tent tonight for us, a little cabin. There's a pool here as well. The luxury. Ooh, it's a bit gravelly. Right, so a heavy day, massive miles, but we did make it to the grave of Buddy Holly, which something I've always wanted to see on our bucket list, so very pleased about that. An awful lot of the towns that we passed through seem a little more than ghost towns these days. The populations must have fallen markedly in recent years, I would say. There's an awful lot of disused buildings, businesses, houses. It seems to be very common across this area of the States. I know people drawn to the bigger cities. That's certainly what's happened in England. So, maybe that's an element of it. You've certainly got communities that just seem to be dying, I would say. We ploughed on for the heat of the day, and it was very pleasing to see the increasing amount of greenery on the side of the road. Things were definitely getting more familiar as we headed east. We pulled in to buy some more iced tea. We drank an awful lot of it while we were in the States. It was definitely a bit of a theme. We later found out the stuff was absolutely bloody filled with sugar. So this is the Texas town with the very lovely name of Loving. Oh really, there is a Loving Baptist Church, and the whole town is, well, not that lovely, actually it's quite small, but Loving, you know, this is a good name as any, isn't it? It's a very positive name, that's for sure. Jacksonville, one of the grander towns we've been through, that's for sure. Fortunately we're just here for the school run, so we've got lots of pickups around. The Jacksonville equivalent of the Chelsea tractor, it seems. Not a bad sized town, some rather nifty murals been painted. A couple of the buildings, a couple of them quite historical. Of course we've missed most of them, there you go. It's crossed over this waterway, as usual waterway. It's a little bit breezy, a little bit, give me a bit of a push there and went across. Nothing can really prepare you for the psychological onslaught that is the prairies. Miles and countless miles of flat emptiness. I'd experienced this mind-numbing monotony earlier in the trip with Deb, but for Tom it was his first time. For me it's hard to speculate just how living in such an empty space can affect the people who live in it. In general, I found most of the people in Texas extremely friendly, especially the good people of Lubbock. But I have to say our time in Texas was not without its odd, let's say strange encounter. And I think on some level we're also beginning to experience some fatigue. And of course Texas was a huge step on the way to our journey home. As another traveller put it, when you've crossed Texas, you feel like you're most of the way home. For whatever the reason, we were both glad to be moving on to more familiar territory as we moved out of Texas and beyond. So we're currently leaving Denton in Texas and we're heading, well, surprisingly east. Not too long a day today, just about 220 miles. Just got to get through this traffic and out of the town and then we'll move on. Dallas, for reference, is a very short distance to the north of it, but we're not going to go through it. To be honest, I can't face the traffic. I'd sooner just get the hell out of here. And there's nothing I particularly want to see, I have to say, in Dallas. I'm going to be interested to see Dealey Plaza. go up to the, the sniper's desk and go, no way, he didn't actually do it. But well, honestly, I'm not that bothered. We haven't got 30 miles yet. It's just going to be a long, long day at this rate. We should break out of this conurbation. We should be okay. Problem is, we're still really in the sort of Dallas area. Nobody's ever sitting in traffic for ages in bloody Dallas, were they? Certainly has a look of small town America, for all the good and bad that represents, of course. And the great thing is here with a lot of trees, a lot of green. It's very nice after the quite a hot journey, so certainly looks like it's getting a little bit more temperate in this part of Texas. Gilmore, Texas, 175 years. Ooh, that's quite old by American standards, isn't it? So ancient. Well, it looks like we've had some rain here. It's a bit of a worry because the tyres are very worn and showed off a great grip in wet at all. So it's got to get us through tomorrow and then they'll be off and changed. Thank goodness. I've upgraded to a cabin, so I'm just going to pay the difference. I'm quite glad we have because it is hot, hot, hot. And wouldn't much fancy being in a tent, to be honest. I could do with a shower as well. But not a bad ride. I think ride across Texas, as we got to the last hour or so, I think it was a lot greener, it was a lot more pleasant the last 100 miles. So yeah, enjoyed that. First section really crossing Texas has been hard work. It's very dry, very dusty. But enjoyed this last part quite a bit actually, not bad. It looks like we may be in Louisiana, which is cool because that's another state we've crossed into. We're not doing all the states, but we've done a lot of them, haven't we? It'd be great to do a trip where you covered every single state, wouldn't it? And I think you'd be all America'd out by the end of it, that's for sure. We started the day on the freeway, but we didn't get too far before we decided to pull over and get some nice cool drinks in the heat. Of course, our drink of choice is more that sugar-filled tea. Honestly, I think we may have developed some sort of addiction to the stuff during the journey. It was bloody nice though, but not very healthy.
Well, it took us so long to get to
It's blank. The attachment to automatic transmissions have ruined the effect. Yeah. Soon we'd be leaving Texas. It had been a strange journey across this mighty state, there's no doubt about that. But the town of Lubbock had been something of a highlight during this section of the trip. Yes, we've just passed the sign. We have now entered Alabama. So that's another box ticked and another state covered. As the sign said, it's Sweet Home Alabama. As the song indeed said also. Of course, the song always makes you think about Con Air. Put the Bonnie back in the box. You can see more or less as you turn. So if you haven't got GPS on, you just fly straight past, wouldn't you? Yeah, the Bass Pro Shop has a better sign than... Yeah. Why does the Bass Pro Shop have a better sign? Hello, we're in Birmingham today.
Not that Birmingham.
That's right, we're in Birmingham, Alabama. The Barber Museum. What a place it is. If you're ever in the States, I can't recommend this place more highly. The Barber Museum for Petrolheads is the 8th wonder of the world. Pooch, or Pook, I get corrected on that one. British people always call him Pooch, and of course it's not, it's obviously Pook. Oh, I'm now starting to scout. No, that was a Benelli. This was an original one. They're based on a 350 originally. They took it out to like 45 and 450, and eventually it got out to 4,500. In America. Yeah. So it's not a Hellwood replica, Tom. It's just a Hellwood. Mammoth. Yeah, it was a German. It was actually the first production 4-cylinder motorbike. Although when you say production, I mean, it was very low volume. It's based on an NSU car engine. Yeah. They were sold in two forms. I think NSU. Well, I think they were sold in two. I think they were sold as a Hercules, and there was an NSU. I think they were also sold. That's what DKW. Can't remember that. It's a single rotor, but the rotor obviously mounted that way rather than the Norton way to transverse. Like a bell, Y2K.
I don't know, but it's just like one love single.
Norton rotary. I haven't seen one of these for a few years. I remember going to Matlock and somebody riding around on one. Always loved the guitar. It was designed by a German guy called Hans Muff. Technology wasn't really there to make turbos work at that point, to be honest. So they're not. It wasn't a whole.
Well, nobody had a turbo, but I know that.
CX. What was the Kawasaki? Yeah, well that's the third. Well, that's supercharged. Next time our journey nears its end, as we visit Chattanooga, but we don't see a choo-choo incidentally, but we still find some fantastic scenery and an amazing cave which contains a waterfall. And much to Tom's relief, we spent our last night in a tent as we moved towards the coast and the great cities.